Hey, Procraftinators! Today I'm participating in a card hop that is Hobbies and Pastime themed. This card hop is put on by Sandra over at Create in Spain. If you haven't checked out her channel, it is in this hop, so I highly suggest that you do. She's got a lot of really neat videos. So the theme of this, like I said, is hobbies and pastimes. And so I looked through my stamps and I found this Altenew Building Block stamp. I do believe that it is retired. If it's not, then it will be linked over in my blog, which is linked in the description box below. But I do believe that this one is retired. So sorry about that. So this building block stamp set is obviously very similar to the game that we know as Tetris. So that's what I decided to theme my card as for my hobby or pastime. So I'm not going to show all the stamping for this because it took me quite a while to do, but I did try to color my blocks very similarly to the colors that are used in the actual game. So I'm just going to show you stamping a couple of these, and then we're going to flip over and it's going to be magically all filled up, or at least most of the way filled up, because apparently the person playing this game is kind of a loser. Because that makes the most colorful card, obviously. And there's just going to be a little strip at the edge of the card that is white, and then just a little bit at the top. So as you can see now, the card is all filled. For the most part, we're just going to stamp this last one, and like I said, there's a little strip off to the side and a little strip at the top there. And so this person is obviously going to lose their game of Tetris, which is very sad. So as you can see here, there is some gaps where my stamping was not perfect, so I just took the Reinkers, put them on my glass mat, just a little dab, and then I'm just going to fill in where my stamping was not perfect, obviously. I'm not going to show you all of that either because it is very tedious, but I'm just going to show you here where I just did a little bit. So I just filled in the little gap there, and then I just spread it out through the whole block, just to kind of make it a little bit more even, because if I just did the little edge there, then you could see where I had done it, and it just looked kind of blotchy. So just a quick little once over the whole block, and it looked a little bit better. So hopefully your stamping is better than mine if you decide to do this, because I did not line my blocks up perfectly, obviously. But it is a handmade card, we're not Hallmark here. So in the end, I think it turned out okay. This card was actually made for my husband's birthday back in November, so this was actually filmed quite a while ago. So here we are in Shirkatsalot. I did want to show you this real quick. So I'm just temporarily installing a Tetris font. I don't know really what it was called. We kind of missed that part. So I'm just going to type out happy birthday here, and then I'm just going to highlight it and change it to that Tetris looking font, whatever it was called. New Tetris is what the font was called. I probably got it off of DeFont. I temporarily installed it, that way it wasn't taking up space on my computer, because this is probably the only time I'm going to use it. So now I'm just, I highlighted it and put break apart. That way I can take this weird little part underneath the happy and underneath the birthday where they just have random blocks of Tetris, Tetris blocks, and I didn't really want that, so I just took it apart. I'm going to move the birthday up, and then I'm going to highlight the whole thing. We're going to go up to Object and Merge, and that is going to make it one solid happy birthday text. Actually, it's not really solid. It's actually little tiny squares that make up happy birthday. But anyway, it's one SVG instead of a ton of little SVGs that Design Space is going to mix up and make weird. So I'm just going to size it here to 3.75, and then I'm going to unlock the proportions and stretch it out to 1 inch instead of these 0.861 inches that it is now. And I felt that didn't really distort it enough to make it weird, so I think that was fine. And then we're just going to export it as an SVG. And then I think, I don't remember if I took it in Design Space or not. I don't think I did. I think I'm going to show you how I made the shadow. Oh, I did take it in Design Space. I lie. Well, you guys know I do that often here. So I'm just going to put a rectangle the size of my card front on here. It looks like 4 by 5 1/4. And then we're going to put that happy birthday text on it. I'm going to change it first, change the color. Then we're going to upload the happy birthday text. Find it on my computer first. Got it uploaded. And then we're going to insert into the canvas. I'm just going to center that and align a center. And then probably going to attach it. Nope, I'm not. Maybe I am. It's been a while since I made it. Yep, there we go. Attach it. And then that will cut out a bunch of little teeny tiny squares in the shape of happy birthday. And I will use those squares a little bit later in the video. I'm just going to, when I want something to cut out exactly where I want it to, I just line it up on the 1 and 1 mark on the mat. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, I didn't want it to cut out my base because I already had it sized the way I wanted it because we stamped it. So I didn't want it to cut out my piece of paper. So I did change the line to score so it did not cut out the card front. I just wanted to cut out the happy birthday. Now we're going to go back into shortcuts a lot, and I'm going to take that same SVG that we made and I'm going to make a shadow layer just slightly bigger than the other word that we made. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want I want a solid happy birthday instead of all those little tiny squares. So I'm just making it just big enough to connect all those squares. See? So it's just big enough to connect all those squares because I want some solid solid words to stack underneath all those little tiny squares. This will make more sense when we get to the actual card. So I just made it just big enough to make a solid layer. I mean, it's just like a hair bigger. And then I'm just sizing it the same size now, so it's not a hair bigger anymore. I want it to be the same size. So I only made it a hair bigger so it would connect all those squares, and now I'm resizing it so it is the same size. I hope that makes sense. It was just a way to like merge all those little squares and still keep the same shape of the happy birthday. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. So I'm just playing around with the size, getting that correct, and then we're going to export that as an SVG. And I will cut that out of white cardstock, and I think I cut it like 4 or 5 times and stacked it up. All right, so here I have stacked up all the solid pieces, and I layered all the colored pieces in the order that they needed to go onto the happy birthday solid pieces. And now I'm taking the last little Y here, and I'm taking all those little tiny squares and putting them on top of, well, I guess it's not all of them now because I've already done it, but taking all the little squares and gluing them on top of that Y. And I did need to keep them in that certain order because this was cut out of my card front and I want the colors to match. Even though technically in the end they didn't match because, well, you'll see what happened in the end. But the theory was that the color was going to match, and it didn't, but that's fine. All right, so there's my card front where I cut the happy birthday out of. And we are going to glue this with Distress Collage Medium and Matte to a black card panel, and it is just slightly bigger than this panel, So I have a black, oh, I lie. No, I'm gluing it to a black card base, not a card panel. And it's, so the card base is 4¼ by 5½. And this card front we determined was 4 by 5¼ So I'm just going to glue that down, and then I'm going to inlay the happy birthday pieces right into their little holes. And as you can see, I stamped and cut a little sentiment strip as well that says "Have a happy birthday." And I just used the little square in the set to stamp that little strip, and just stamped them right next to each other to get the little stripes on it. And the strips are MFT slanted sentiment strip dies, which you see me use a lot in my videos. I'm just going to pop that up with some foam tape. Oh wow, this is old. If I didn't even have actual foam tape, I just had squares. And then I made a little panel for the inside, and the snarky sentiment about his birthday card being a real surprise, or whatever it says. What did it say? You're real surprised about your card, or something like that. Surprise, here is your birthday card. You never saw it coming, right? Yeah. That's because my husband always gets a birthday card. He gets a card for every occasion, so of course he'd never see it coming, right? All right, so I put glossy accents over the letters, and that is what changed the color of my my letters. You'll see in the final pictures that the wilted violet actually looks more like I think it's Dusty Concord. That's kind of the, like, almost has a magenta hue to it or something, kind of a purplish reddish color. So yeah, the glossy accents changed the color of my card, but that's okay. It is what it is. All the colors were just slightly different. And then I'm just going to add some Nuvo drops in ebony black, and that finishes off the card. So the next person in the hop will be listed in my description box below. I hope you enjoyed the card for today, and as always, have a great day.